I'm cleaning up like I'm.
All right, I'd like to call to order the August 11, 2025 Mountlake Terrace Planning Commission meeting to order. Would you please take the roll?
Chair Batista.
Here.
Vice Chair Betcher.
Present.
Commissioner Stenson.
Present.
Commissioner Thompson.
Here.
Commissioner Wu. Here. Commissioner Landis.
Here.
Please note that Commissioner Morgan is absent as of roll call.
All right, looks like item number 3 is the approval of the July 28th, 2025 meeting minutes. Does anybody have any changes or corrections? Not hearing or seeing any, so we'll go ahead and declare those accepted as presented. Item number 4, public comment. Let the record show that there is no public in attendance tonight. Do we have anybody who has signed up or submitted anything online?
No one has signed up online.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 5, presentation of zoning for 24229 48th Avenue West for annexation.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Sarah Pizzo, Senior Planner. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so I will be presenting proposed zoning for property located at 24229 48th Avenue West. So the purpose today is to discuss the zoning designation for this property. It's currently within unincorporated Snohomish County and is in the process of being annexed into the city of Mountlake Terrace. Part of this process includes having the Planning Commission make a recommendation to City Council on the zoning designation. So I'm going to go through a summary that's more detailed for this topic, go over the legislative history, the comprehensive plan in relation to this topic, adjacent zoning around this area, the SEPA process, and then make a request of Planning Commission and a recommendation for the zoning, and then talk about next steps, and then there'll be room for discussion and questions. All right, so our summary, the proposed annexation area is located at 24229 48th Avenue West, as shown here in the map on the right. This property is about 0.4 acres or 17,269 square feet. The area boundaries are adjacent to city limits on all sides. So this is an unincorporated island, if you will. And it's located within the Mountlake Terrace urban growth boundary, which means that per regional planning, this area is intended to be annexed one day into the city of Mountlake Terrace. And the property owners have requested the annexation because they would like to connect to city sewer services. And they filed petitions to annex on July 9th and July 21st. And those were submitted to the county assessor's office, who provided a certificate of sufficiency, essentially saying that the petition met state law for what a petition requires, and we received that on July 28th of this year. So the legislative history on this topic started June 12th with a work session where I introduced the notice of intent to commence annexation proceedings. And council reviewed this at that time. And then June 26th, at a regular meeting, they passed Resolution 914, which accepted the geographic area of annexation. It authorized the circulation of the petition, and it required zoning be adopted at the same time that the annexation occurs, and also required assumption of existing city indebtedness. And there'll be future meetings and public hearings, both council and planning commission, on this annexation and its zoning. And again, the reason this is before the Planning Commission, is to make a recommendation related to the zoning of this property. So the comprehensive plan, Vision 2044, has two policies that relate directly to annexations. So the capital facilities element says that annexation is required before providing services like sewer services to unincorporated areas. And then the land use element says that we are to work cooperatively with Snohomish County to ensure future annexations have smooth and orderly transition to city governance. Additionally, the comprehensive plan land use element shows this property as having the land use designation of residential 1 or R1. And you can see our full land use map on the left, circling the area in question, and then called out on the right close up with that R1 color. And the comp plan says that the purpose of residential 1 is to provide land for detached single household residences, duplexes, and other complementary uses while encouraging a clean and healthy environment, safety, walkability, neighborliness, affordability for a range of income levels, and adequate open space. And that buildings in this land use designation would have a maximum of 3 stories. So the site's existing use is single household residence, 1 story, and there's associated improvements on the site. So the existing use does comply with the stated purpose of the R1 land use designation in Vision 2044. So adjacent zoning, as you can see on the map here on the left, the annexation area is surrounded by R1, residential 1 zoning, to the north, west, and south. To the east is the Recreation and Park District. And the minimum lot area required in R1 is 4,800 square feet. The subject site is well over the minimum square footage required at just over 17,000 square feet. So the minimum lot area requirement is met. And then SEPA, so designating zoning requires environmental review under SEPA, and the Snohomish County zoning designation is single family residential R8400, and that is what it's currently zoned at. And so we're proposing rezoning to the city zoning designation, R1, and adopting an R1 zoning designation is not expected to result in any direct or indirect environmental impacts. So the request that we have of Planning Commission is to provide a recommendation to City Council regarding the zoning for this property that's proposed to be annexed into the city. And for all of the reasons stated, staff recommends designating the property located at 24229 48th Avenue West as residential 1 or R1. And this is what the zoning map would look like if this zoning designation is recommended and then adopted. So that's just showing the R1 zoning designation color. So next steps this month, completing the SEPA review, determination, and noticing. And then on August 25th, we're planning to have a Planning Commission public hearing regarding the zoning designation. And then after the Boundary Review Board action, the City Council will hold a public hearing on the adoption of the zoning ordinance and the annexation ordinances. And now we have time for discussion and questions.
Just a quick question, since we discussed this recently, did we make sure that there is no orphaned unincorporated street in front of this parcel?
Yeah, there does not appear to be any unincorporated right-of-way adjacent to this parcel.
Okay, glad to hear. Does anybody have any questions, comments?
Seems pretty straightforward.
I was going to say the exact same thing, so.
Great presentation, I love it.
Yes, I wish all of these were this smooth.
I know, right?
So I don't think we have any questions or comments on this one. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your time.
All right, I guess we're moving on to the next item. Kind of shocked how quick that was. Next item's director's report.
Yeah, so just so you know, for annexation, there's several ways you can do annexation. For our county, we still have what's called a boundary review board. I'm not a big fan, just because after growth management set urban growth boundaries, we're supposed to annex the properties inside of our growth boundary. So like you guys have seen, it's kind of a no-brainer. We have a land use designation in our comp plan. It's an island, and so it's 100% ownership agrees. They want to annex. We want them to annex. We want people to be on sewer. We have some of these kind of remaining properties. I don't know, Sarah, if you have a count, but I'm going to say we might have like about 4 more of these little islands in the city left. We don't have many. We've done a few of these annexations over the last handful of years where we're kind of getting these properties into the city where we won't have these little islands of property. But anyways, so there's 2 separate processes that you go through for both the annexation through the city council, but the zoning comes through planning commission and city council as well. So it's kind of like a paperwork shuffle in order to do something that logically we're supposed to be doing at this point. So just anyways, it is what it is. And you'll be getting this back for a public hearing at your next planning commission meeting, which I believe is on the 25th of this month, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 14 days. There you go. August 25th for the zoning portion. And then city council will complete their review for the zoning and the rezone. So anyways, as part of director's report, we received an email today from Commissioner Landis letting us know that he is going to resign from the planning commission. Him and his lovely wife are adding to their family. So he has graciously said that he could be on the planning commission until a replacement up to the end of October. So we set the wheels in motion today. Appointing planning commissioners is city council. So let the city manager know that today so we can have the council start acting on that and to get Commissioner Landis a replacement as soon as possible. And then he can focus on his other duties as assigned at home. So thank you, Commissioner Landis, for your time served on the Planning Commission. I'm sure your fellow commissioners appreciate you as well. And with that, I don't really have too much to add this evening to drag our meeting out, unless if anybody has any questions from me.
I think I would just like to add to the thanks to Commissioner Landis. We've had several commissioners over the years, have newborns join their family, and most of them don't stick it out as long as you have. Very appreciative that, your willingness to serve, given the expanded family in this new era of remote attendance. It's very appreciative, and, I have nothing but well wishes for you. I'm sad to see you go. Hopefully, we can at least see you in person one more time before you go. Maybe have like a little send off. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I'm happy for you, but sad that we'll be losing you at the same time. So.
Yeah, can I take a second to say a few words?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, so I just want to say thanks for all the kind words, all the well wishes. I really do appreciate it. I briefly mentioned in my email that this was not a planned pregnancy. This was very much a surprise in more ways than you can imagine. So I've been wrestling with the idea of trying to stay on, but I think for the good of my family, and I think for the good of the commission, it would make more sense to have someone who has more time and able to commit more focus to all the really important work that the commission does. I do regret I have not had as much time to commit to this as I had hoped I would have, even with 2, let alone the 3 that will be here soon. But anyway, yeah, thanks so much for the opportunity. It's been a real pleasure. And I'm, like I said in the email, I will be able to stick around until closer to baby's due date. And I do like your idea. I will try to find an opportunity to make it into one of these meetings before the end here. So thanks again, everybody.
Thank you. So before we move on to the next item, the miscellaneous business, I want to kind of follow up on Christie's earlier comment too about the Urban Growth Boundary Review Board. I agree. It seems silly that it has to go through them for internal little islands that are speckled throughout the county. I will say especially for planning commissioners who are newer to the county, the reason why Snohomish County still has this is because certain Southeast Snohomish County cities can't play nice with each other. And this was a way to kind of draw a line in the sand and say, no, you can't have all the unincorporated area at this, in this part of the county, and that you have to play nice and share. So this is why we still have this, this board. And even all these years later, you can still see, off their map. Obviously, I'm looking at the hard copy right here, but you can look at this online too. There are still a lot of pockets of unincorporated county in this part of Snohomish County. So I think the odds are is that these are primarily residential pockets. So it's really expensive and becomes a net negative for cities to incorporate it without having some sort of corresponding commercial land to annex to help offset the cost of the services that they'll need to provide. Who knows, the county wants to offload these, has for decades. We might be, map might not shift for the most part for decades to come. Hopefully that's not the case, but yeah, in terms of the small little islands, the city has made a concerted effort for decades trying to get these last few properties annexed. Our former clerk, in her many roles with the city, even before she became the city clerk, would make it a point at least once every year or so to pay a friendly visit to these properties to just check in with them and to see if they had changed their mind or not. So, even after all of these years, there are some properties that just, they have no desire, no want or will whatsoever to try and unincorporate. So, we might still be living with, a few of these pockets for years to come. Hopefully the orphan streets we can at least take care of sooner.
That's one of the things that we would like to do with the Public Works Department is get those taken care of. I think what we've seen is a lot of these septic systems are in the last stages of their useful life. So when you do the economics of the new systems, the new septic systems, and having a new system and then a reserve area and then the specialized treatment, it's not saving you money to be on septic. It is basically what we're seeing right now, which is that people will ultimately decide to hook up to sewer. Plus, in this case, like in this property, you have the potential of, you have a fairly large lot. So it makes more sense to hook up to sewer for most of these properties, and that's kind of what we've seen. So I think we might get, little by little, these little remnants here, with the exception of some of the area to the north of the city where we'll see if and when that area gets annexed. But I think we'll, little by little, maybe get some of the rest of these little islands. There's been debate at city council back and forth before I got here and since I've been here of, hey, should we just annex all of these islands and then we go through a process? And they're like, no, we'll just wait for people when they request it. So that was kind of a discussion probably 2 years ago or a year ago, and it kind of ends up at the same place, which is just waiting for people to request an annexation to come into the city is kind of where the council has lied previously. So anyways.
And for all the annexations that have occurred, at least since I've been on the planning commission, if I remember correctly, they've all been because of failed septic systems. And usually it's a case where there's a memorandum of understanding because it's an emergency situation that they need to get hooked up to city service in a lot of cases.
Yeah, for sure. And just, a lot of jurisdictions are outright requiring people to hook up to services when they annex. So, and that's what we'd like to see, that you're just hooking up to services. It's the better way to go. So, yep, that's where we're at.
So we have to wait for them to request to be?
That's kind of how council's handling it right now versus just going in and annexing all of these properties. So, because like Chair Batista said, there's typically some pushback by a couple of property owners of, no, we want to live in the county, even though they're surrounded on all sides by the city. Yeah. So, it kind of is what it is.
A lot of times, I'm not saying specifically in these cases, they think their taxes will go up by being in the city as opposed to the county. In reality, it usually ends up being the opposite. They would end up paying less taxes, but they're set in their ways, and that's what they have in their mind, and they don't want to budge from that opinion. The other thing now is a lot of our city services, sort of changed. Obviously, Snohomish County Sheriffs, are they going to come out to respond to something in these, or are they going to task it to Mountlake Terrace PD? It's going to get tasked to Mountlake Terrace PD. So Mountlake Terrace PD is providing the services to them, even though we're not getting taxes for it. It's a little bit different now with fire, since it's a regional system as opposed to back in the day when it was just the city services. So that one isn't as bad because they're paying for that either way. But yeah, we're providing services for them, and we're not getting compensated
even the roads
for it.
like we talked about, right? You're not stopping and like, oh, this portion wasn't annexed. By all accounts, other than probably having a septic system, all of your services are provided by the city, right? That's the reality, so.
All right, so I guess we'll move on to item number 7, miscellaneous business by call of planning commissioners. Does anybody have any miscellaneous business?
I think for the September 8th meeting, requesting excused absence. I've got travel commitments.
All right, would anybody like to make a motion?
Motion to excuse Commissioner Wu from the September 8th meeting.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to excuse Commissioner Wu for the September 8th meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries.
Thank you.
Let me just update my notes here real quick. All right, anybody else? Any known?
I'm checking
Absences?
the football schedule now.
Checking as well.
Uh-oh.
Oh, did you say football schedule?
Yeah.
I was just checking my calendar.
Monday Night Football, is that what we're saying?
Yeah, looking for Monday night football.
It's
Looks
that-
like it's not until October, but.
That time of year. All right, at least for now, it doesn't sound like we have any, but obviously if plans change, let us know as soon as possible. One last call, miscellaneous business? Not hearing or seeing any, so I'll go ahead and declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
Recording stopped.
Thank you.